Well, for my first official video, I would like to talk about something rather recent, the Gorillaz track, Momentary Bliss. Gorillaz are a pretty special band to me. I've been listening to them since 2017 when Humans released, because what happened was that I saw Humans was releasing and I thought to myself, oh, Gorillaz, I've heard of them many times and I wouldn't mind maybe looking a bit into them. So when Humans released, all I did was I pretty much got it as soon as possible, and I thought it was great. I thought it was really interesting. Like, at that point, there were areas of music that I hadn't really thought that I'd even enjoy that much. At that time, I wasn't the hugest fan of hip-hop. I was more into rock and maybe little areas of mainstream pop, but mainly just rock music. So when I found out that there were actually areas of hip-hop that I rather enjoyed, it rather broadened my sort of taste in music, really. I do really have to thank Gorillaz for that. Looking back on Humans now, I don't think it's nearly as good as I remember it being. There are definitely some tracks that don't hold up that much, but I still think it's a great album overall. I own the super deluxe version on vinyl, which was a crazy thing to get. It's an awesome collection. Aside from that, after Humans, I really started to get more into them. I pretty much did it almost in order. I listened to Self-Titled, Demon Days, then Plastic Beach, so pretty much nearly all of them. I'll be honest, I still haven't heard the full yet. I heard about less than half of it less than a few years ago. As of what I heard of it, I didn't really enjoy it that much. I was just rather bored. There wasn't really much I was getting out of it. I might enjoy it more today since my musical tastes have changed dramatically. Aside from that, when the Now Now released in 2018, I'll say I'm a rather huge fan of Now Now actually. I thought the Now Now was great. I do agree, it was pretty laid back. Aside from that, really, I really enjoyed it. I thought the singles were great. I thought most of the tracks that weren't singles that released in May were just as great. Fireflies is my favourite, easily. There's not really a lot of songs that I've cried to, and Fireflies isn't one of them, but on my first listen, I was pretty close. It was a very emotional song. Aside from Now Now, we now have a song machine in 2020, giving us our first wonderful track, Momentary Bliss. And when I first heard it, I thought it was alright. I think maybe I was sort of expecting it to hit a little more, maybe. But it's pretty much ended up like every other Gorillaz track, where first listen, it's okay, but then after repeated listens, it really grows on you. And Momentary Bliss, I absolutely love it now. It is brilliant. Pretty much every aspect of it. I think this is honestly one of my favourite Gorillaz songs now. It's at the league where Superfast Jellyfish and On Melancholy Hill are, and those are probably my two favourite Gorillaz tracks of all time, so that's high praise. That's very high praise. So what did I particularly like about it? Musically, it kind of sounded like a more experimental, punkier version of the Now Now, with the really chilled back, laid back, but still rather groovy guitars. One thing I really loved was the drums. I got acoustic back, which is awesome. I've missed acoustic Gorillaz. It's been a while, but it's back now, and it sounds as great as ever. But aside from that, there's the collaborators, who are quite big on this track. Slaves starts off with We Can Do Much Better Than This, Swimming in Pools of Momentary Bliss, where even now, I think it's the weakest aspect of the song. Like, it's the aspect of the song. If I were to rank what I enjoyed the most about that song, I'd say they were probably the least. I still think they did a great job for what they did. Anyway, I think they've had quite a high influence on the guitars. So on the guitars, they're great. Just vocal-wise, I think they're alright. When Slow Tie came in, whew, I just recently, when I heard that Slow Tie was going to be collaborating with Gorillaz, I actually decided to check him out. I had heard his name before, and he had worked a little bit on Tyler Creator's Igor, which I love that album. I have checked a little bit of his album, Nothing Great About Britain, and at some point I really do want to talk about that album, because I'm not a huge fan of grime whatsoever. I like hip-hop, I like rock, I like many types of genres. There are some genres I just can't stand, and grime is one of them, but Slow Tie breaks that for me. I think Slow Tie is kind of like, as of now, from what I've heard, an example of kind of what I would want from grime. A more complex, more layered, less trappy beat, where it doesn't sound the same, it actually sounds unique and interesting. I think for what he collaborates on the track, I don't think he does anything like the title track or Dorman. Although I would say there's kind of an influence from Dorman, since Dorman was a rather punk track on a grime record. On this track, he's brilliant. He's great. He sounds like a Gorillaz collaborator. I always think on Humans, a lot of the collaborators were kind of just, you know, they were doing their thing and that was it. But then on the first album, Self-Titled and Demon Days, when they came in, you know, they kind of just fit in with the Gorillaz themselves, with the band. Like, they didn't just do their own thing, like they did something unique. And I think Slow Tie, that's exactly what he did here. He really went along with this groove, with this Gorillaz groove. This song is probably the most Gorillaz song I've heard from Gorillaz in the last few years. It's been a while since I've heard a Gorillaz song like this. I do like Humans and Now, but I do kind of yearn back to the days of Self-Titled, Demon Days and Plastic Beach, because I much prefer those records. So kind of taking me back to Self-Titled, that feels great. I love that. But anyway, back to Slow Tie. His lyrics here are just brilliant. Mostly here, they kind of just have you like grooving along, like quite enjoying what you're hearing. When you actually do look more into the meaning of this track, they greatly complement it with the idea of momentary bliss, with a lot of the words he's kind of saying here. Like when he says, "You're so special, so fucking special." There, I kind of think a lot of people, like they always want to kind of make themselves stand out or make themselves seem so special. And there's kind of like this irony in the way he's saying it. And that feeling of feeling special is what that momentary bliss could feel like. For a moment, you feel special in this big, wide world, but then, you know, after you kind of come back to real life, it's not really like that at all. You're just back to real life. You know, I think like my favorite part of the Slow Tie verse is when the groove like really starts to kick in, like the punk aspect of it like really starts to go. Like he's really good with like his punk work. It sounds amazing. I love it. Of course, after that it goes back to like this chorus. They're saying like poster boy, poster girl, like all that. And then when 2D comes in, like the delivery is bloody perfect. It's so perfect. Like I haven't heard 2D sound so perfect ever. like this. Like 2D sound great on many tracks, but the way Damon uses his voice here, it's amazing. I love to hear him sing like this more because it's infectious for just how good it sounds, seriously. Of course, after that, you know, it kind of then really starts to go, like it goes like the part where like it really starts kicking in. Slow Tie's verse, like that happens for 2D's verse, and I think if I'm correct, Slow Tie comes back into this bit and the whole song just feels like it's exploding, and it's a marvel to behold. It's so cool to witness. And you know, by the time it's finished, it kind of just settles back, kind of just simmers back down, goes back to the intro that Slaves does at the beginning, and then the song just ends, and it's great. It's great. I've heard it about 5 times now. But it's a great track. I'm loving it. I cannot wait to see what the Song Machine has in store. I really like the idea of the Song Machine. Instead of releasing singles before an album, instead sort of just releasing tracks throughout the year and just giving us content without having to focus on making it solely based on an album. Which I like that. I think it's gonna be interesting to see how this goes. Like, do I want a new Gorillaz album? Absolutely. I would love a new Gorillaz album. If it sounds like this, then sign me up. Like, I love an album fully like this from Gorillaz. As of now though, we've had 2 albums in 2017 and 2018 back to back. I think like this. I think I'll like this. I think this is going to go well. And I can't wait to see what else the band has in store. And I'm hoping 2020 is going to be a better year when it comes to music. I think last year had very few releases I enjoyed. There were so many just songs and albums that were disappointing or boring. And like the worst stuff, it was the worst. Like last year with the song Earth, I think that's the worst song I've ever heard. And I hope to God that this year it's not like that. I am very excited to see what this year holds for music. So yeah, This has been Super Wild Jellyfish, and yeah, that's my first video. Hopefully this isn't too embarrassing for the future. So yeah. So yeah. Oh, and one other thing I think I forgot to kind of show. Yeah, I kind of just wore a Gorillaz shirt, but it didn't really show. So yeah, I just thought just to show that. I don't know if 2D is looking more than like just a blue and pink mess.